Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on yycbusiness.ca. Joining me today is Paula Allen, who is Global Leader, Research and Total Wellbeing for Morneau Shepell. Thanks for joining us today, Paula.
A pleasure.
Well, the company's put out its latest monthly mental health index. Disturbing to see that, continued decline, 10th consecutive month in January. Any surprises there that the state of mental health in Canada continues to decline?
I don't know if I would say it is a surprise, but it's certainly not what we have hoped and expected. We knew that mental health would be impacted given the amount of change and uncertainty that the pandemic has brought in. What we didn't anticipate is how significant that decline would be, how overwhelming this whole situation is being experienced, and also how unrelenting. And we're finding a lot of emotional exhaustion right now. We've seen a little bit of less anxiety, but people are feeling more isolated. They're feeling less optimistic. It really is quite a concern given the length of time that we've been dealing with this uncertainty.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I guess, like there just seems to be for people no end in sight in this thing, right? And maybe is that a lot of what causes the mental distress, I guess, in people, not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel?
That's part of it, and actually has a chain reaction with other things as well. So, think about, what we've experienced. At the beginning, we actually asked in the beginning in April, people thought that this was going to be over no later than June of 2020. And then that wasn't the case. And then we started to reopen, and then we pulled back a little bit. And then we started to experience second wave. And then, we had the vaccine announcements. And then even with the vaccine announcements, we're hearing about another variant. We're hearing about a third wave. All of these things, all of these glimmers of hope, and tend to give us a little bit of, hope and respite, and then it moves in another direction. So I think it's been very difficult. And the thing that is concerning is that it has knocked us off balance, and our behaviors and our self-image has been changing as a result. So people are feeling more isolated. We're not seeing them actually put as much effort as before in keeping connected. We're almost accepting the fact that we're separate from other people, which is not good at all.
Yeah.
We're also seeing that a decline in how we're rating our psychological health, which means that more of us are seeing ourselves as anxious or depressed or not mentally well, not just experiencing negative emotions in the moment.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, two things from the report, but one of the things that I found quite interesting is that full-time students were at the lowest end of that. What's happening there?
Well, being in post-secondary education, that is a vulnerable stage of life, just generally speaking. It's a life transition point. You have a whole lot of hopes and aspirations, but you're really not sure exactly what your next step is going to be in terms of, career and other factors.
Mm-hmm.
It is a vulnerable time, generally speaking, and students also tend to have some financial pressures. Many do. Add to that the disruption of the pandemic, and virtually everything that students experience anyway has been exacerbated several-fold. So the level of uncertainty, the amount of change, and how do you respond to that change? So many of them have been saying, should I even continue on? Should I pay my money if I'm not able to have that face-to-face experience? The career that I wanted, is it going to be as stable as what I had hoped, because so much is changing in the economy? And most concerningly, the thing that actually gives us a cushion, which is social support from others, has also been disrupted because students aren't able to interact with other students in exactly the same way that they had anticipated.
Yeah, exactly. And one last thing I wanted to ask you about, and it's more particular to out here in Alberta. You know, I see that Alberta had the greatest increase in stress. Why is that happening?
Well, Alberta, also had been, pretty bullish in terms of the vision of coming out of the lockdown, and then it ended up being pulled back. So higher expectations, more disappointment. But Alberta had also been really suffering, even from the beginning, right before the pandemic, of a fair bit of economic uncertainty in some sectors. And we do know that economic and financial uncertainty, if that's an undercurrent and had been even prior to the pandemic, is just being experienced more so. So, the stress is there. Alberta, most of the provinces are clustered together in terms of where they are, but Alberta is really one of the lowest numbers right now in terms of our scores, really just for the reasons that I just suggested.
Okay, thanks, Paula, for joining us again.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, that was Paula Allen, Global Leader, Research and Total Wellbeing for Morneau Shepell. This has been Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on yycbusiness.ca. Thanks for joining us today.